Hello Libra, fellow Libra Polina. So let's talk to you about 2023 and what it all means. So in my case, it might not happen because I've done all I could in Tiger to come out of my shell. In your case, I'm not sure. So I remember in 22, I was telling all Libras to produce as much energy and light and color and frequency as possible simply because it was going to be a very contracting year. And I've done it. So, like, say, I produced the work that I wanted to produce, or I said the things that I wanted to say, even to me, and I broke out. But that was hard, so I had to push myself on and on and on, and it was messy. So maybe if you also have been a very vulnerable Libra in the past, and you've been subjected to situations or stories with other people that didn't matter to you, that you didn't feel very good about. Maybe it was not the best year because 22 was not maybe necessarily the most compatible year for a Libra with Libra frequency, but it would have been very easy eventually to put things together if you just got in the habit of doing something every day, even if it was something small, like just walk a little bit, like, I don't know, just talk to a friend, just do something, do something, do something, just do something basically was not really the point. The point was to stay juicy, young, and fresh, and to try and help yourself out of some pretty strange stories. Because, I do understand some Libras naturally could become very complacent beings. And the reason for that being is because we kind of get taught by ourselves, our elders, or peers, or society to just basically keep a kind of feel good feel about us and not necessarily to be too brave. So if you're not a very brave Libra, and if you haven't done any work on yourself, and if you haven't wanted to evolve past a certain level, and if you haven't tried to, it's going to be an uncomfortable year. But you are still going to be the talk of the town. So what you have done in 22 matters. If you have evolved, if you have gotten to know yourself, if you got fit, if you got safe, if you got interesting, or if you got sad, if you got nervous, it is still going to be the talk of the town. And there are going to be so many people waiting there for you. So people are going to start to work it out that you have something awesome or interesting about you. No matter what, there's going to be something curious or interesting about a Libra during 2023. There's going to be a welcome guide to life, welcomings in your life, you being welcomed, a welcome person, a person that knows who they are, a person that knows maybe how to live. And if you are like myself, somebody with a recent thing that you've done or something that you've only really conquered lately is going to be a very big guide for other people. For example, Libra has been, like, example, overweight for 5 or 6 years and then shed all that weight in 22. Fantastic. You can be an incredible weight loss coach. So there is something about you guys that is very, very fantastic and slightly intimidating, and not many people know how to get through to you, or how to get invited into your life, or how to be around you. Like, can I be your friend, So if you want, you can extend that big welcome, but be careful, you guys. You don't want to overbear. So it's not about products, it's not about production, it's not about making people feel good this time around. It's just whether or not you can handle. So to me, it feels like this: measure it out. This year, if you're comfortable being on your own, if you're quite happy being lonely, okay, kudos to you, that's great. Maybe that's all it takes during this year. If you are comfortable being lonely and you can afford, or you are curious about having another person, you can extend a welcome, or you can be welcomed by another person's life. If you are very good together, you can welcome a child if you want. If you are very happy, you and your partner and your children, maybe you can welcome somebody else. Maybe you can extend your welcome to a greater community. Maybe you can serve other people. Yes, with all due respect, there is a timeline for that. Not everybody necessarily wants to be there, but some people really love, in their 30s and 40s, being able to be of use for their country or for other citizens. That's all good, but I mean, the question mark here is, can you get this done? Can you really afford to? Like, say, if you've extended yourself so much to everybody, if you wanted to help and heal the world, and at the end of the day, you didn't have enough energy or finances or money, if you haven't really been able to put your life together, if you haven't been able to source the materials that you said you were going to source, if you haven't been able to make your life happy, if you were not actually at the end of the day good enough to yourself, you have to come clean, because not every single person gets the chance to do everything at once. And even though you want to, yeah, it's hard. So I suggest this: get yourself down to a nice, simple, manageable size and work that out there. So just nice and manageable. So for example, you're living in this house, great, you know, do you feel happy here? Okay, good. Can you afford to have another person move in with you? Maybe. Ask again and again, or can you afford to do this or that? So the question is affordability of your timeline, and sometimes the time is right for certain things. So sometimes Libras are measured and timed for some very big results. For example, having a partner enter your life. It could be timed result, like having a child. It could be making friends. It could be making money in a certain way. It could be becoming very well to do. It's always for a big reason. Like, these are big reasons, like, say, making your first house, or making friends with the right people, being a powerful person now, being needed in a certain community or level of society, being looked at or being wondered about or being looked towards, you know. So there's quite a lot of Libras that are walking out of that meek territory. They're walking out of just having friends just because, you know. So also, if you're one of those Libras that's been kind of balancing a life in a way where you're kind of like neither nor, it's like, well, I could take it or leave it, I could be with this guy or that other guy, it doesn't actually matter, you know. So if you're actually making it out of those dubious and random times, I definitely suggest try to look better, try to feel better, try to open yourself more to taste and color. You are an influential person in 2000, most of 2023, and it's important to evolve you, evolve your taste, evolve your style, evolve your culture, evolve your traditions, evolve your things that you like to buy, or close it down. So also my advice for Libras in December was walk away from the garbage. Like, say, if you're eating garbage, if you are talking about things that you don't want to represent, if you are making yourself a person that you don't want to be alike to eventually, if you don't like how you're placing your steps, like, walk it out and get rid of it. So it's like, I'm not wearing that anymore. I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm not being this person anymore. I'm not supporting this anymore. I'm not supporting that anymore. I'm just not going to do it anymore. And then eventually a lot of that will close down, and sometimes you see a void happen. At the beginning of such a year, there might be a void, and then things really progress. So you are very good. Maybe you are one person in the country or in the group of people that can do something. Maybe you are the only, like, doctor for this certain type of disease, you know, that has got a very good reputation, or you're the only one that we need for this, or you're the only one that we need for that. But by buying so much time and caring for so many people, you might run out of energy or self-esteem. So I always suggest this: less is more. So trying to get yourself into, like, the right job, into the right category of people, and not spread yourself outwards so much so that you don't have so much to do later. So for example, if you're doing 5 or 6 things during this year, you might lose them, and you might also lose your own light. So the worst thing is that you might burn out, and you might have so many people expectant of you, or you might yourself expect on yourself. So the idea is not to secure yourself in 5 or 6 or 7 different lives and to have so many people around, unless they're just one manageable group. A group might be always better than having, like, one friend here, one friend there, little, you know, cubby hole situation here, and like little friendship over here. It's important not to spread yourself across also the world. So also understanding, if you are, say, working with any kind of also substances, if you are thinking about making a project, if you are doing things with many people from around the place. If things are from around or like very vast, you have to be very kind and careful and put things into a very nice compact line. So this is like, for example, okay, I'm going to live in this house, I'm going to go to this job, then I'm going to also do this. You know, so it's very like one, two, three. And I understand that there's a lot of lust for you and other people, and you might be lustful for others or for another. And it might be definitely like, well, I could do all this, this, and this, and I could also do that, and I could do that. A little bit too much light in the shot. Sorry. So sometimes, you know, people feel, great, perfect. People feel like they can do everything at once, or they could be part of everybody's life. And it especially shows if you're one of those social people that eventually gets like ongoing desire to be somebody and to be somebody else that you aren't, and wanting to be with many people at once, and wanting to conceive many friendships and create many projects that you just simply can't, and you shouldn't. Like, should I really have this? Maybe you shouldn't buy it. Maybe you shouldn't conceptualize it. So this is one of the things that Libras have to trust, is if you have one ongoing simple friendship, if you have a one ongoing simple job. And I do understand that there is lust, and there are so many ways that people live out there, and there's so many people making money, or you know, making lives out of very alternative ways. And you might want to have your say in everything. You might want to have your face or your picture featured in every event, or you might want to spread your love around. And the reason for that being wrong is simply because it is not sustainable, and it can't turn you into a better person, because all of that competition that you were part of before basically ends up on some of you guys. You might be the only lucky winner, or the only personality that actually works, or the only person that knows how to do something. But here we have to have a lot of love and time given to the one thing. And if you are making a lot of things happen at the same time, is basically uneconomical. And then basically we also have to all love and trust you. It can't just be like, hey Libra, what you got cooking? It's not like gonna cut it anymore. So not any Libra is gonna put up with that kind of stuff anymore. Not for a long time. Like, people casually just walking up to you and kind of like, you know, butting heads with you, or making you feel like you're not the main part of the story. The worst part of your experience sometimes is being nobody to somebody special as well, or being in love with somebody unrequitedly, or not being taken care of by a whole slice of people, society, being misunderstood. Now, that's not something that Libra probably likes to do in 2023. I don't see any Libras caring enough for that. I can see Libras being like, you didn't respect me last time we talked, so why should I talk to you again? So I feel that there is like a lot coming to you because of that, basically because of that base culture being gone out of your life, and you're not wanting to sit pretty with people, you know, that don't care about you, or you don't want to be in a country or be in a group of people in the culture that just basically don't understand and don't have enough sympathy, compassion, or light to give you. So then that becomes very, very strong. It's like you start to respect who you are and your understanding of life, and you start to get strong on you and your values and your representation, and also on people that represent you in society, maybe also like say your husband or your children or your children's children. So you might be very, very strong and kind of meek, but also temperamental about how things work out for you. So Libra gets choosy and a bit picky. Maybe you are more picky than most people. Maybe you're pickier than some. And then eventually, not that many things can be, you know, except for what you do and except for what you like. So you might be winning. It's like a game of chess, and you take out all the pieces of your opponent, you know. So it's very, very simple for us all to bring you something. People like a good, level-headed and calm and kind Libra, and they also want to see you and want to know more about the cause and effect that it takes to be who you are. So they want to know how you're eating, how you're drinking, how you're feeling, how you're going, how did you make that, how did you make this, like what did you think, what did you feel. So there's a research party. Maybe it can also be negative sometimes. There is a search party, you know, coming to your house, or people want to see how you live. So it's very, very important to be very careful also with this, and not to be in harm's way or in the way of brutality. So, you know, not everybody's going to obviously have to experience that, but, you know, like you don't want to overcrowd things, you know, you don't want to get into things. Also, if you're hiding things in your house, okay, perfect. Better time to speak of it. Like, for example, you're growing marijuana, you know, in a country where it's illegal to do that, you don't need to do that anymore, you know. So it's very important to understand your status, your legal status, and how you get yourself across, and also who you want to be and how you want to eventually grow up, because we're talking about come September, there's not going to be many people that can withstand you this way or the other. They want a new improved version of you. So that's very, very hard and harmful sometimes for you to understand. So you reached a wavelength where you are perfect and you feel like you've completely done everything and the world is your oyster, but then people are like, we want an upgrade, we want to update. So for example, you've made some music and you could be flying high. So maybe you made a lot of mistakes in Year of the Tiger. For example, you made some tracks nobody wants to hear in 22, and 23 you might close the gap between you and that dream. So you might have a lot of things happening that are successful and that are getting attention. And then September 2023, end of September, not many people like what you're doing anymore. So it's like, okay, come on, like you got to produce other things, you know, you got to make something new, you got to be somebody else. So we want an upgrade on already existing part of you. And that can be very hurtful for some people. And some people have extra responsibilities or phenomenal need to change, and other people, because you're cardinal sign as well, other people might be asking you to supply something that you don't even feel ready to supply. It's like if you're working as an artist, for example, people are knocking at your door being like, okay, come on, where's the goods? Like, we need it now. So there is an importance thing, it's importance in a story. There's an important part of the picture where you don't necessarily want to put everything together like that. So even though you are very requited and heartfelt and people are asking of you during the first few months of this year, even starting now with December, I would definitely shorten your level of energy information. Go towards the most powerful thing that you're thinking about, most powerful dream that you're dreaming. Only do that dream. Be part of that picture and close off everything else, everybody else that you don't need to spend time or energy or money on. And then eventually evolve only the creme de la crop, creme de la crop, creme de la creme. Yeah, just only evolve the best things that you want to eventually exhibit in front of people. And only work on your most powerful pieces, only be the most clearest person in terms of who you be and how you'd like to eventually communicate or connect with people, how you like to credit yourself, also understand your prices and your worth. Yeah, you should probably raise your prices. You should have actually done it last couple of years if you haven't done it yet. And then eventually basically evolve into a more conscious, powerful, and well-represented person. But like the idea basically behind all of this is to be very careful and to be very mindful and not overspend time or energy on this, because something else has to grow as well. So this is where you, okay, get it very clear. So all of this flurry aside, all of these different jobs and things and people and thoughts and situations that are working right now, or that are showing you promise, and you could be successful in any one of these things, you choose one. You choose like a very basic, stable ground that can be nice, and you don't have to improve on it any longer, and just kind of hover on that. And then eventually, as you get through this year and you know, many others afterwards maybe, you will have to learn something new. So underneath, this is a trick, this is a trick. You gotta like have a new seed planted that nobody knows about. So deep in the ground, there will be a new and a new and a new seed, or there will be a new and new and new idea. Just you don't have to surface it in front of anybody. So you have a nice veneer, like a perfect home or a nice relationship, or just to get together, or like your job is going well, and then you have a hobby, or you have another thing that is growing underneath the ground. So it's like an underground thing, as we are looking for you to improve and to escape the status quo, and also to be unusual, not just unusual, to be curious and to be strong, and also to be very safe at the same time by the end of the year. So there is like a very interesting level of perfection that you should have reached already. And you can use this. You can use this however you like. You're very well versed in something, so you're very on purpose in something, and that's good enough. But we have to look at you in a way that is very different, shiny, and improved. And by the end of next year, 2023, there's going to be a completely different personality or a completely different person next to you, or there's going to be a different type of game or a completely different type of arrangement for who you are. It's just that that part isn't going to be able to flower until then. So it's not about searching for the next state of mind. It's just a careful unconscious sometimes in the work, and doing things piece by 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 piece. It's like very soft, very light, very kind, and very detailed work on your life, on your mind, or like, you know, on your craft, on whatever that you like to do. And then eventually at the end of the year, you might not be like the only one person that makes it, but you might be one of the very few very good philosophers or a very good doctor, or you might be a very, very nice friend, or like a very, very knowing person. It's just that it won't be all wise until probably the end of next year. So for now, try to center on that which is obviously going for you. Don't look for any more responsibility, and just like gel that which you have or which you've had for a while, and then eventually start to get open. And then next year comes, meaning Year of the Dragon 2024, you have it. So you will just like very easily, I think that most of you guys will just very easily become like a very, very, very well equipped person. So it's like you'll just smooth all of it out like in 23. And then come 24, you'll just be like forever who you are, or forever who you wanted to be. It'll be just like, you know, like walking through the motions, evolving, and then suddenly you have it. Like maybe there's like a big, big, big prize, or huge amount of money, or just like a giant window into like a next level life, but it will not happen at the moment. So just like grind through and smooth through what you have. So be happy with what you have and who you are and who you've come to be, and just like, you know, pat it together and like make it whole, and then eventually grow that which you have, and it will just kind of disintegrate for some people because it's not be all end all reality. I think that it's hard, you know. It's like it's not going to stay for all your life, all eternity. It's going to be a new seed coming up underneath. Thank you very much, Libra. Also, please check out the next little bit of information after this video. If you'd like more insights on this year to come, please check out my Almanac for 2023. It has all the information for all the signs, and it is available in Kindle book form and physical book form as well. And also, if you like, have a look at my Patreon with all the details for every sign, for every month, and day-to-day prognosis. And yes, my website, of course, where you can read more about me, and if you like, you can get a booking as well. And yes, I do year ahead readings, which are very popular every year. And here's my retreat website. If you're curious about coming to see me in Peru, then yes, of course, please like and subscribe. Thank you.